Today we'll discuss on information theory and entropy. Now, in this topic, there are two parts. One is information theory and next entropy. So, at first, we'll give a brief outline on information theory, not very details, but we'll cover the broad outlines of information theory. Now, the word information is defined or interpreted very differently in the disciplines that have information as their core area of study and research. The nature of information is that it is an element of a knowledge spectrum. Here, data, information, knowledge, and wisdom are viewed as part of a continuum, one leading to another, each the result of actions on the preceding with no clear boundaries between them. Now, information is a key component in the growth of knowledge. From early civilization of mankind, information has played a significant role in societal development and in improving living standards of human beings. Information is closely linked with the growth of economic, political, health, cultural, educational, and other sectors of a nation. It is now well recognized that effective use of information can turn non productive resources into value added economic resources. Good examples of these are biogas and fuel pellets made out of human wastes. Information contributes to political strength of countries so much that we talk of information rich nations being more powerful than information poor nations. Now, successful applications of science and technology or S&T to social and economic developments depends on the effective use of information. Now, many countries have set up special purpose S&T information centers accessible to common man. India has over a dozen such centers. The increase in life expectancy and the growing population have resulted in large scale governmental operations that call for extensive use of information. Thus, at present times, information has come to occupy a central role in national development and is reckoned as a driving force for all human activities. Consequently, the present day society is termed as information society. Let us recall the comment made by the famous information scientist G. Escorcia. So, G. Escorcia commented that the underdeveloped nations of the past are those who came late in the information in the industrial revolution, and the underdeveloped nations of the future are those who have already come late in information revolution. Therefore, the industrial society or post-industrial society, which was the result of industrial revolution, that society was prominent up to 1950s or 60s, and that society was the result of industrial revolution. The production based economy was the lifeline or was the backbone of the industrial revolution. So industrial revolution was based on factory production based economy, while the information society, after industrial revolution and industrial society, a new phase arrived, that is known as the post industrial society, which was indicated by the famous social scientist Daniel Bell. And the post industrial society was consequenced into information society, followed by knowledge society. Now, the service based industry and service based economy was the backbone and crux force behind the information society. And as the production in factory or production of goods was the base of industrial society, similarly, the production of knowledge and information was the base and backbone for the information society. So, this is the crux point which was made by G. Escorcia, and this comment of G. Escorcia asserts that information is a strategic resource in its own right. It highlights the importance of information as a valuable asset that can provide a competitive advantage. This concept is often referred to as the information resource, information economics, or information asset perspective. Now, let us now discuss some aspects about information. Information as a source of power. Information can be a powerful tool for decision making, innovation, and strategic planning. Competitive advantage. Organizations that can effectively manage and leverage their information resources can gain a competitive edge in the market. Information management. The statement emphasizes the need for effective information management practices, including data governance, information architecture, and knowledge management. Strategic decision making. Information is a critical input for strategic decision making, and its quality, accuracy, and timeliness can significantly impact the effectiveness of those decisions. Now, information is useful only when communicated from originators to other potential users of information. Information communication is as ancient as information itself. In the early days, messengers used to carry information from one person to another. Birds were trained to carry messages. There were other techniques that used free space as the communication medium. Beating drums, waving flags, and lighting fires are some of these ancient techniques. Inherent in these techniques is the concept of coding, where a particular action conveys a certain predetermined message. For example, waving a red flag may be a warning of an impending danger. The next major step in information communication is the postal network that is used quite extensively today. Modern telecommunications started with telegraphy in 1837. These systems transport information via electrical, optical, or electromagnetic signals. Until about 1950s, the telecommunication systems were based on analog technology. Principles of digital communication were propounded in the second half of 1930s, and first digital computers were built in mid 1940s. Since then, the digital technology has been advancing leaps and bounds both in the fields of communications and computers. Binary coding is used extensively in these systems. Another aspect of information that needs attention is its enormous volume. In the early days of human civilization, information generation was a slow process. The population was small and only a few individuals were involved in the process of creating new knowledge. The advent of industrial age accompanied by an increase in world population has brought about significant growth in information generation and dissemination. By the year 1800, the quantum of information generated was doubling every 50 years, and by the year 1950, it was doubling every 10 years. And today, in 2024, it is doubling every 1 years. The quantum of information generated by industry, governments, and the academic world reached unmanageable proportions by the middle of 20th century that a need was felt to devise new ways for managing information. A search in this direction has given birth to the new information technology. The amount of information generated by the academic community is gauged by the fact that there are more than 2 lakh journals and periodicals being published at present in the fields of science, engineering and technology, medicine or medical science, social sciences, arts and humanities. This means that on an average, 20 million articles are written by the academic community every year. Industry is no different also. Remote sensing satellites gather tetrabytes of information every day, which is equivalent to a million books of about 300 pages each. The banking and finance industry has a large volume of financial and personnel information stored in its vast data banks. The quantum of government information is mind boggling too. Land records, population records, voter lists, police records, licensing records, transaction records, accounting records, policies, rules, regulations, laws, judgments, and other innumerable pieces of information are ever growing continuously. Thus, considering all these situations, it may be safely stated that information has become the central theme of living these days. It is treated as a commodity and traded for a price. Information economics has emerged as a subject of recent interest. The world is witnessing a phenomena of information explosion. Consequently, The present period of human civilization is aptly called the information age. Historically, the information age is supposed to have set in since early 1970s. In the context of information society and information age, a number of questions related to information have arisen. What constitutes information? How can we transmit information reliably and efficiently using modern telecommunication systems? How can we store large volumes of information in a compact form? Is there a measure for information? Can we evaluate the information content by attaching value to information? Such questions have led to the development of information theory that deals with the following aspects, which are number one, concepts of information, number two, information measure, number three, information content, number four, information communication, and number five, information storage. So these five aspects are fundamental aspects of information. Let us now discuss about disciplines centered around information. Here, discipline means broad subject rather. Actually, in universe of subjects, there is no subject which is without information. The basic aim and objective of any subject is to generate information. Therefore, no subject or knowledge can exist without information. Yet, what we'll discuss here that information is treated and contextualized in different ways in different subjects. Now, there are a number of disciplines that claim to be dealing with the phenomena of information as their central core. Let us discuss some of it. Number one, electrical engineering. In electrical engineering, signal transmission over noisy channels as propounded in the information theory of Shannon. So, Shannon's information theory, very famous theory, where information is viewed as a electrical signal. Next, computer technology. For instance, information processing, storage, and retrieval as bits. So, in computer technology, information is interpreted in an objective way, which is measured in terms of bits. In physical sciences, information is considered as an abstraction similar to matter and energy, also analogous to the phenomena of movement and diffusion, structure, communication, and entropy. Next, in biological sciences, information processing in living beings. Actually, in biological sciences, information is treated as genetic code. Not in biological sciences or in details, in the context of biochemistry or genetics, information is treated as the genetic code which carries signal uh, among different cells, living cells. Next, behavioral science, which deals with cognitive process of information. Next, social sciences. In social science, particularly in sociology and economics of information and knowledge is discussed. Here, information is viewed as a resource and an economic commodity. Actually, strictly speaking, in the context of the subject economics, information is viewed as a strategic resource in its own right. It is viewed as a resource. And in sociology, information is viewed as an agent for changes taking place in the society. Next, philosophical studies, that is conventional and modern studies of epistemology. In philosophy, information is defined from the viewpoint of epistemology. In linguistic studies, that is expressing, structuring, coding, and communicating ideas and information. In linguistic studies, information is viewed as a point which exists in growth and evolution of language, rather the science of language. In library and information science, the application of information technology for conventional practices of librarianship and the new dimension that are evolving, including the newly emerging information systems and services. And information science and technology, that is studies involving the intersection of disciplines mentioned above. Therefore, information science and technology, that is rather IT, this is a highly multidisciplinary subject and it covers all subjects. Here, only few subjects are related which deals with informations, but apart from these, all subjects, there are so many other subjects which deals information in its own context. For instance, mathematics. In mathematics, information is treated as a binary digit, Boolean algebra or bit. In the context of astronomy, in astronomy, information is treated as signal, electromagnetic signal or electromagnetic radiation. In astrophysics, astronomy, astrophysics, and in physics also, here information is reckoned as electromagnetic signals or pulse, like that. Let us now categorize information. How many categories of information exist? Actually, there are so many categories of information. Little few categories are discussed here, but apart from this, there are other categories may exist also. Now, information may be categorized into the following classes on the basis of different parameters. The categorization against some parameters is listed below. Number one, depending on the organization of contents. Number one, structured information. That is, information having unambiguous meaning and explicitly presentable within the format of the data. The example of structured information is a relational database table. Next, unstructured information. The meaning is duly implied by its form and therefore needs clarification in order to extract the actual sense. The examples are natural language documents, still images, audiovisual materials, etc. So, structured and unstructured information, this is the category on the basis of the organization of contents. Next, depending on creation of content, it is how the content is created. Number one, fundamental information, where information is obtained from primary sources of information. And number two, repackaged information, or it is also known as consolidated and repackaged information, where information is obtained from secondary and tertiary sources of information. Actually, from primary sources, we get the first hand or nascent information, and the information available in the primary sources are analyzed and consolidated. And the consolidated information is represented in a new form, which is the process known as repackaging. Therefore, in between fundamental information and repackaged information, there are three steps. Number one, information analysis. Number two, information consolidation. And number three, information repackaging. So, information analysis, consolidation, and repackaging, in brief, which is known as IACR. So, this IACR process transforms the fundamental information into repackaged information. Next, depending on nature of contents. Now, number one, factual information. Examples are database, statement of a thing executed or existing, etc. Number two, analytic information, that is critical appraisal, view, judgment, commentaries, etc. Number three, objective information. It is integrated information on all sides of a topic like website, handbook, encyclopedia, etc. And next, subjective information. It is evaluative information on some specific sites of a topic like review article or editorial page of a newspaper. Next, categorization of information depending on the life cycle of the contents. Number one, active information, that is information which is frequently used. Number two, less active information, that is information which is less frequently used. Next, historical information, that is very less frequently used. And finally, archived information, which is very rarely used. Next, depending on the nature of container of information or information sources. Information sources are also known as the containers of information. At first example is primary information, or which are available from primary sources of information. Now, primary sources of information include scholarly journal articles, theses, dissertations, government reports, symposia and conference proceedings, original artworks, poems, photographs, speeches, telephonic messages, letters, personal narratives, diaries, interviews, autobiographies, weblogs, email correspondence, etc. Number two, secondary information, which are obtained from secondary sources of information. Secondary source, the examples of secondary source consist of dictionaries, encyclopedias, textbooks, edited works, biographies, literary criticism and interpretation, political analysis and commentaries, directories, guidebooks, manuals, handbooks, yearbooks, almanacs, websites, etc. And thirdly, tertiary information, or which are available from tertiary sources of information. The examples of tertiary sources include fact books, Wikipedia, bibliographies, though bibliography may also be secondary, bibliography of bibliographies, indexing and abstracting periodicals, etc. So, depending on the nature of containers of information, there may be three categories of information, that is primary, secondary, and tertiary. Next, depending on the physical form of the containers of information. The physical form of the container of information includes number one, printed information, which includes all types of printed materials. Number two, non-printed information other than electronic media, which includes magnetic tape, microfiche, microfilm, film strip, magnetic drum, etc. Number three, electronic information, which includes CD-ROM, DVD-ROM, hard disk, etc. Number four, online information, which include email, voicemail, SMS, etc. And next, web information, which includes websites, web blogs, Wikipedia, search engines, YouTube, etc. Next, depending on levels of perception by informational clientele, that is number one, popular information. Information on any subject or topic at popular level for mass or general people. Number two, state of the art information. That is information on any topic revealing different stages of amendment and trends at different time periods. Number three, scholarly information. That is information on a subject at high academic and research level. And next, technical information. Now, next category, it depends on the sphere of interaction of information clientele. The first point is personal information. That is information needed by individuals in their personal life within the circles of family, friends, and other close associates. Number two, professional information. That is information needed by individuals and also groups to maintain and develop their professional career. Next, number three, community information. That is information needed by groups for maintaining regular life rhythm of their respective social and cultural community. Next category, depending on the area of interest of information clientele. This is, it depends actually on different broad disciplines. It may be science information or social science information, cognitive information, technological information, etc. Now, and finally, depending on physical and mental need of information clientele, that is psychological information, health information, etc. Now, today we all people are living in envelope of information. The information field is constantly wrapping our thoughts. Our life starts daily with a handful of information on newspaper. Here some broad and major categories of information have been chopped out. Besides, there are so many categories depending on so many parameters and transmitted through so many channels. Information is received by the human brain in the forms of some statements through text, graphics, data, image, sound, and many more. The intrinsic truths of nature and human conscience are unveiled by the bits of information. Therefore, information is the carrier of truth. The physicist Niels Bohr said the opposite of a correct statement is a false statement, but the opposite of a profound truth may well be another profound truth. The truth is unique and evergreen. If it is misinterpreted anyhow, then that is due to the imperfection and imitation of either information creator or information source and or information channel. Such misinterpretation may occur due to chaotic flow of unorganized information. The notable point is thus all categories of information are useful only when organized in a logical sequence. Unorganized information brings complete chaos and is useless. The numbers of information transmitting channels are also growing very fast. Practically, channels are growing faster than the growth rate of information. A bit of information is transmitting so many times through so many channels and thus replicated. Replication of information is one of the major cause of information overloading and also information pollution. We, the recipients of information, should develop our own filter to scan unwanted and irrelevant information. We should control information before information makes a control over us. So, this is the uh, actual very important feature. So, thank you.